Welcome to Adults After Dark, the place where the night slows down and real conversations begin. No filters, no judgments, just grown talk and open minds. So send the little ones to bed. Grab you a glass of wine or something stronger. Put on your headphones and let the world fade into the night. Tonight we're diving deep into the spaces most people avoid. Here is where reality meets honesty and honesty meets desire. But before we begin, remember this is a judgment-free zone. Let's be respectful to one another. Someone out there might need to hear they're not alone, that what they're feeling makes sense. Maybe tonight your voice helps them breathe a little easier. We're here to possibly help someone who may be going through the same thing or something similar. Tonight's conversation is being in a sexless marriage.
Hello, and welcome back to Adults After Dark. Yes, we are finally back after a 2-year hiatus. We're back better than ever. We've missed you guys so much, and we're so happy that you're joining us here tonight for another real, grown, unfiltered conversation. But before we dive in, a quick reminder, this is an adult conversation, so make sure that there are no children around under the age of 21. This is a judgment-free zone, so let's keep it respectful in the comments. And we do talk about things that most people whisper about or go through, honestly and openly and with the heart. New episodes will air on Friday. But before each episode, if we have comments from the previous episode, we will discuss some of those to get you guys feedback and see what you guys are talking about. So let's jump right into tonight's conversation. And the topic is being in a sexless marriage. Now, usually when I do these things, I start with my story. And tonight is no different. So I've been married for 13 years. My husband and I have actually been together for 21 years. We've been together for 21 years and married for 13 years. And for the last 10 years, maybe about 9 or 10 years, or maybe between 8 and 10 years, I've been in a sexless marriage. Now, when I met him, he already had some health issues, like hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, and he was on multiple medications. But even then, we were still intimate. The spark wasn't perfect, but it was there. You know, we kissed, we touched, we explored each other in different ways. The sex was okay, but it wasn't great. And I think that's probably on both of our ends. Now, over time, the intimacy started to fade. It didn't happen all at once. It's just slowed down little by little. Now, I still loved him and I wanted, to build a life with him. When I was in the process of buying my house, when I met him, I asked him, was he in or out? And he said that he was in. And so he helped me financially to purchase the house. So, we moved in. We started living like a married couple, even though we weren't married at the time. We were together 8 years before he even proposed. So at first things were manageable. We still had sex, but it was changing. His health got worse. His energy dropped, and the medication affected his performance. He couldn't stay hard, or he'd finish too fast. So he started compensating more with oral sex, more touching, and even toys. But the toys didn't fill the void, and the oral only made me crave the real thing even more. Okay, so every time it was oral, I'm like, okay, so that just made me more hornier, you know. So after a while, like I said, this is still before we got married. So after a while, I started seeing someone else, which was a co-worker. He was also in a relationship, but with us, it was just purely physical, nothing but sex. There was no feelings, no strings, no expectations, no none of that. Just the release. At work, we acted normal. After work, it was like two people who couldn't keep their hands to themselves. That affair went on for about 3 years, and my man never found out. Even till this day, he still does not know. The funny thing is, I don't even remember why exactly it ended. I don't know, maybe it just ran its course. So the guy ended up getting engaged to his girlfriend. They end up getting married. And I stayed with my man. Still no intimacy, still no spark. So my husband grew more frustrated at himself. He was angry all the time because he couldn't please me. He felt insecure, and then he started getting suspicious that I was cheating. But at that time, I wasn't. Now, he should have been worried 3 years prior to that. Okay. Then we started talking about marriage. Now, before that, he'd never want to be married. But then I guess after us being together as long as we was, and the sex started fading, I was still here, he decided he wanted to get married. So we started talking about marriage again. So he eventually proposed. I hesitated, but I ended up saying yes. And I kind of, how can I put this? I kind of hesitated to have the actual wedding for about 2 years. He kept asking me when we're going to get married, and I kind of put it off for 2 years, but we eventually end up getting married. So after we got married, it got worse. He had more health problems. It was less touching, less kissing, less holding hands, less hugging. Less connection. Until there was nothing. Like I say, no kissing, no hugging, no affection, no holding hand. Nothing. It had got so we would only just peck each other like on the lips when we leave in the house or when we come in. That's it. So now, it's been some years later, I find myself watching a lot of porn and doing a lot of masturbation, probably about 4 or 5 times a week. And he doesn't know. So I was talking to one of my girlfriends about it, and she asked me, she's like, would I cheat again? I'm like, yeah, I could cheat again, but at this point, if I did that, I might as well just leave, divorce him and start over. I didn't want to get a divorce because I really believe in marriage, even though we are having this issue. So I know some of you are thinking like, you should have left a long time ago. Yeah, I know. And maybe you're right, but marriage isn't black and white. There's more to marriage than just sex. Though sex is a big part of it now, let's be honest. Sex is a big part of marriage, but I'm trying to look on the other side, okay? So, yeah, here I am, almost a decade without any intimacy of any kind, still married and still trying to figure out why am I still here. I don't know. So yeah, let's talk about it. So I found an article. You know, I'm always finding articles. And I'm going to read a little bit of what this says. It says a sexless marriage is generally defined as having sex fewer than 10 times a year. And believe it or not, it's more common than people think. Now, 10 times a year, that's bad. But with me, it's not. I mean, when I say zero, it's gotten so where we sleep in separate rooms. We hardly talk. We don't watch the same thing on television. We don't go anywhere or do anything together. We don't even like have in-home dates or nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. It's like we're roommates. Okay. But let me finish reading this article. It says, but here's what they don't talk about. Excuse me. The silence, the loneliness, the resentment that builds up between two people who share a bed but don't touch. But like I said, we don't even share a bed. Sometimes it's not even about the act itself. It's about the lack of it. I'm sorry. It's about what the lack of it represents. The absence of passion, closeness, connection. It chip away at you slowly. Now I can say this, even though he's in a home with me, I am lonely. I am very lonely. And like I said, I could cheat again, but I'm not going to do that because I actually believe in marriage. And when I did cheat, it was before the marriage. Even though we were together, we were still living in the home together. I did, do I regret it? No. I mean, if I regretted it, it wouldn't went on for 3 years. So, but like I said, he had a lot of medical problems. Well, he had some medical problems. He has more now and is taking a number of medications. And that has a lot to do with him not getting an erection. Okay. So continuing with the article, it says why it happens. There's no single reason why couples stop being intimate. It can come from somewhere, and usually it's a mix of things. Medical or health issues, emotional or psychological factors, life changes, relationship dynamics. The fallout is when the intimacy fades, the emotional distance grows, and ours grew real tough. Like I said, we don't do anything together. It's just like we're roommates. Okay, one or both partners can start feeling rejected, unattractive, or invisible. There's frustration, sadness, even grief, because it's a kind of loss. So we don't have that connection anymore. And like I said, I know sex is it's important, especially in marriage. But there's more to marriage than just sex. I had to find that out the hard way. But don't get me wrong, I still want to get my bones jumped. Okay. It says you can live together, eat together, pay bills together. But if there's no affection, there's no touch, you start to feel like roommates with members. Oh my God, I literally just said that. I just said that, and I didn't even know this was going to be in this article. Wow. Okay. Resentment builds, trust thins out, communication turns into logistics. Did you pay the bills? What's for dinner? But nothing deeper. And oh my God, this is us exactly. Like everything this article is saying that I just read, this is us. Wow. And it says, and for some couples, the slow erosion leads straight to divorce. Now, we haven't divorced yet, but I don't know if that's coming. Like I'm believing marriage, and I'm trying to hold on. Here's something else. It says, But here's the thing: a sexless marriage does not always mean it's over. It does mean something needs to change. Sometimes that means talking, really talking, not arguing, not blaming, just putting the truth on the table. Now, we've talked about it, but the issue is not me. The issue is him. It doesn't work anymore. That's just the bottom line. It doesn't work. It doesn't get hard. There is nothing. It's just a pee pipe now. That's it. It says sometimes it means therapy, together or alone, to figure out what's actually going on under the surface. Now, I can say this: he did used to try the pills. We went to doctors where they showed him how to inject himself in order to get the erection. That stopped working. It worked for a little while, but then it stopped working. Okay, it says if health is a part of it, then seeing a doctor matters. There are medical solutions now, hormones, medication, and even counseling for performance anxiety or low desire. But most of all, it takes effort on both sides. You can't fix this alone. Well, we're at the point now where it can't be fixed. We tried to fix it. Like I said, he did the pills. Went to the doctors. He did injections. We tried to do foreplay. All of these things, toys, everything is. It doesn't work anymore. And so since it doesn't work anymore, he can't get satisfied. He used to try to just satisfy me, even though he wasn't getting satisfied. He would still just try to satisfy me, and then that stopped. Yeah. So let me finish reading this. If you're listening and you're in this situation, you're not alone. Whether you stayed or left or still deciding, your feelings are valid. There's no shame in wanting connection, in missing touch, in cravings, in closeness that used to come easily. Marriage is just about surviving Marriage isn't just about surviving under one roof. It's about growing together. And when that stops, the silence between you gets louder, and it did. The silence is very loud in this house. Here are a few thoughts that help whoever this is that wrote this article. I don't know. I didn't see who wrote the article, but it says a few thoughts that helped me, not me per se, but the person in the article. Talk before you drift apart. Don't wait until the only thing you share is history. Check the health stuff. It matters more than pride. Be honest with yourself about what you can live with and what you can't, and what you can't. Find ways to connect emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even if the physical part takes time to return. And if you have to walk away, it's okay. Sometimes staying breaks you more than leaving ever could. And I think by me staying as long as I did, I think it did. I think it did break me. Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, I'm very lonely. I desire the physical touch. I want that touch. I want to be hugged and held and caressed and all of the things. Like I said, when he realized he couldn't get it up anymore, he would still try to please me. And then that just stopped. I don't know why. It just stopped. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, let's open this up for discussion. Comment down below I want to hear from you. Let me know. Yeah, so let's talk about it. So, would you stay in a sexless marriage or a sexless relationship? If so, why? And if not, what would be your breaking point? How important is sex truly in your relationship? Like I said, drop your thoughts down below, and we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so leave your comments down below, share your thoughts, be real. Someone might need to hear your perspective. Okay. And so next week we'll read some of your responses and dig into what you have to say, because this just isn't my story. It's a place for all of us. Maybe your situation is a little different, or maybe it's the same. Maybe you're the partner who lost the desire, or maybe you're the one craving touch that just doesn't come. Either way, you're not alone. So there's one thing that I've learned. Sexless does not always mean loveless. But it does mean you have to redefine what intimacy looks like. Sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes it may be kindness. Sometimes it's simply choosing to stay or choosing to grow separately. But don't lie to yourself and call it fine if it's not. Pretending doesn't fix anything. You deserve connections. Whatever that looks like to you, you deserve it. So if you want to try to fix it, talk to your partner. If you can't fix it, accept that too. Yeah. If you don't need to leave, or leave with honesty, not guilt. If you need to leave with honesty and not guilt, because life is too short to live untouched and unseen. Okay, so tonight's conversation might have been heavy, but it's real, and that's what Adults After Dark is all about. Talking about what most people hide. So if something in my story hit home, sit with it, write about it, talk about it. Come back next week and we'll discuss it in the comments. I can read some of your comments on the air, if that's what you choose. I won't mention any names. Okay. So, but anyway, that is going to be it for tonight's episode of Adults After Dark. Adults After Dark airs every Friday night. No filters, no shame, just grown folks having real conversations. Okay. Until next time, keep the lights low, keep the wine poured, keep your hearts open. This is Adults After Dark, where honesty meets desire and the night always tells the truth. See you next week.